continue l'excellence avec c'est Abdelfatteh Omri. Donc, il va se présenter. Donc, vous avez 45 minutes.
D'accord.
À ne pas dépasser. Ok,
Salam
merci.
alaikum. Tout d'abord, je vous remercie, Si Mohamed Sirida, pour cette opportunité. Tous mes remerciements vont à Saïmed Ramdani.
Ah oui.
Parce que c'est lui qui a initié le contact et a fait le lien entre nous depuis 6 mois, quelque chose comme ça.
Oui, absolument. Merci à lui.
Bon, la présentation fait, il y a beaucoup de slides, 120, donc je vais essayer d'être bref, mais de vous donner des nouvelles idées, soit de recherche ou de développement, puisque j'ai fait un cursus un peu interdisciplinaire sur pas mal de pays, en Tunisie, Belgique, Japon, Saoudie, Qatar, et j'ai fait à peu près 8 ans de recherche et développement dans le milieu industriel, conseiller auprès des boîtes pharmaceutiques et aussi bioinformatique, biobusiness development, biobusiness innovation, et aussi j'étais aussi membre des comités de vision des pays comme Japanese Vision 2050, Saudi Vision 2030, Tunisian Vision 2030. I will switch in English. So خاطر شوي خايف من الفرنسي بون سيريذا أعطاني فكرة يعني pour que la confusion entre le masculin et le féminin, elle est, au lieu de demander un baguette ou une baguette, demande 2 baguettes. Donc on paye le plus. On échappe au féminin et au masculin. So I start, I'm Abdelfatteh Omri. I got my engineering degree in bioprocess engineering and food technology. My master also in food technology. My PhD was from University of Tsukuba, Japan in 2011 in biosphere resources and science and technology. Currently, I am the latest who joined the surgical research team in Hamad Medical Corporation, which is the biggest entity providing more than 80 or let's say 90% of healthcare in Qatar, as a senior scientist in the academic health system. And I recently became the deputy for research. And just 1 or 2 weeks ago, I got a second appointment as a clinical associate professor with Qatar University Health Cluster. My expertise, from 2011 until 2016, I got what we call multi-concurrent job in Japan, which is something quite interesting. I have like 4 jobs at the same time. I was the scientific director of the Advanced Biomolecular Metrology Laboratory in private company. And at the same time, I was in the translation office between university and the private sector, means I got all the patents, the papers, scientific publication, and I look at them and I see what is in the maturity level that can be translated either to product or a service. My expertise mainly run toward bioengineering, high throughput screening, cellulomics platforms, point of care technology, oncotheranostics. When we say oncotheranostics, it's a word that at the same time onco means cancer. That means therapy, means drug design, drug discovery, and gnostics means the diagnostic. So it is like a combination of the continuum within the cancer care. Omics, and here when we talk omics means genomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, all this new way of doing things in the whole genome, health information system, and lean management in healthcare. During the past few years, I got awarded around $10 million, not in my pocket. I was receiving salaries only, but as funds for research that went to mainly students, postdocs, and technicians, and for the development of prototypes and products. So first of all, I declare no conflict of interest, because I don't have any company or I'm co-working, just my job in Hamad Medical Corporation. My presentation will cover mainly first overview about the corporate where I'm working, Qatar National Vision 2030, Healthcare Strategic Plan, and then presentation about our team, like the biggest team, the surgical research section, and then the system medicine and clinical decision support system that I'm leading now. And I will finish by presentation and overview about healthcare 4.0 opportunities and collaboration. Hamad Medical Corporation is the biggest healthcare provider, and it is a governmental entity in Qatar. It started back to 1957, when the population of Qatar was around 47,000 population, just with one hospital. And now they have 12 hospitals under one umbrella, providing healthcare services for a population of 2.6 million people, mainly foreigner. And here we are talking about 2.3 million foreigner and 300,000 locals. So here are like Al-Khor Hospital, Al-Waqra Hospital, Qatar Metabolic Institute, Rumail Hospital, Hajj Hospital. So you can have all these insights from our website. But we have something quite interesting for you guys. We have one of the biggest and the best simulation center in the world. It is called Itqan. So whoever have ideas for development, and because for the technology readiness level of products related to healthcare, we need to go through a pipeline. A simulation center like ours will be really very good, and I may help in bridging the connection between you and Itqan, because we are it is under our leadership. In terms of facility master plan for our corporate, we are expecting to increase the bed number 2 times. It's gonna reach by 2030 4,200 beds. And for the clinics, from 400 to 1,000 clinics. For operating rooms in 2015, it was 40, and we are expecting to reach around 90 by 2030. And the time being, when I'm talking now, we have already 83 theater for operating rooms. And for the car parking, and here we are talking for the staff and for the patients, it's gonna increase 3 times to reach 24,000 slots. So Hamad Medical Corporation in the phase of opening is the most like exciting and ambitious. So, and if you can see in the logo, we are providing health, education, and research. So I'm at the interface between research, education, management, and strategic planning somehow, because our boss is the chief medical officer. In terms of national vision, there are 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is related to human development. Second one, social development, economic development, and environmental development. In terms of healthcare, 69% of mortality in Qatar, they occur because of chronic condition, particularly cardiovascular disease, number 1. Cancer is number 2. Diabetes, number 3. Then 70% of adults, mainly Qatari, they are overweight. That means their body mass index would be more than 25. And also they have low level of physical activity, since the country, it is more 6 months, it's very hot. So it's AC, then the cars, the mobility is AC, so people, they have less physical activity. The other thing is among youth, mainly 23% of mortality is due to injury because of traffic accident. And the tobacco is, unfortunately, if you can see among children, the rate among females, it was 1.2, and among kids is 8.8. And this trend is, unfortunately, in all Arab countries almost the same. Almost is the same, with the exception for some few countries, but MENA region, we are sharing the same pictures. So the challenge that we are overcoming, instead of focusing on the disease, we're gonna move to focusing on health population. And instead of focusing on acute and episodic care, it is integration of continuity, strengthen focus on primary care. And third is to not to see the healthcare cost as a burden. It should be considered as an investment, and the population to shift from the paradigm that it is passive recipient of healthcare service. It should be kind of a part of the healthcare system itself. And here we are talking about empowerment of population in healthcare. So I move to an introduction about our division, قسم البحوث الجراحية. So our team is subdivided to 5 sub-teams: clinical research team, system medicine team that I'm leading, technology and innovation research team, biomedical research team, and artificial intelligence team. In a hospital, our team is considered like the most high-tech team because 80% of our resources, mainly at the base, they are engineer. So that's why we are different from any other research team within the corporate. That they are mainly either coming from basic science, biology, or they have clinical background in pharmacy and so on. What we are doing: clinical research, biomedical research, precision medicine, nanobiotech research, technology and innovation, and system medicine. So for the clinical research, mainly it's audit, quality, surveys, longitudinal and cross-sectional study, systematic reviews, and the hardest one is randomized clinical trials. And here we are talking about huge investment coming from pharma company. We are talking about billion and million dollars. For the drug discovery or biomedical research, it starts from the target selection validation, the preclinical phase, and then in vitro, in vivo, and then the clinical trials. We are together with Hamad bin Khalifa University and Qatar University. We are covering the whole pipeline. For the precision medicine, it is now like maybe a trendy word. Some of you, they might heard about it, others they didn't. So instead of focusing on one drug fit for all, it's not the case. We should go for a therapy that it is personalized, and each patient is a case apart, and we should consider a lot of factors. And here we should, later on we will discuss it in the next slide, how it works, because the current medicine, whenever يعني تمشي للطبيب راسك يوجع, everyone will get paracetamol, for example, right? So, but it's not the case. That we need to investigate more. Sometimes it doesn't work. You may have an allergy for this medication. You may have other symptoms, and so on. So, for the other arm is for the biosensors, and here I point, it is a very, very, very interesting venue for research and development, and COVID-19 accelerated a lot FDA approval. So, for example, the life cycle for a new drug development, it takes around 20 years. But for the in vitro diagnostics, roughly 3 years, and you can get your product released in the market with FDA approval with less investment compared to medicine and drug discovery. So if I will simplify the picture, we have a biomarker that can be a protein, that can be gene, that can be a metabolite, that can be whatever. And then there will be the biorecognition system, and here we are talking about either an FET device or nanowire array or whatever. And then there will be the readout, which will be a signal, either electrical signal or color, or if in case of crystal quartz balance, or in case of SPR plasmonic effect. And then the diagnosis and the data analysis. The other team, they are working mainly on the IT engineering support for the team of robotic surgery. And here, the capacity of the country is really quite interesting. If we see Qatar, in a population of 2.6 million, we have around 8 robots. Saudi Arabia, they have 33 million population, and they have 12 robots, because one robot costs roughly $1.5 million, except the maintenance cost. And the artificial intelligence team, they are working on the computer vision, medical image processing, and mainly for ultrasound, MRI, CT scan, X-rays, and how to make it like affordable, accessible, equity, and so on. So here are the main 3 teams that they are in the engineering, the tech and innovation, artificial intelligence, and system medicine. I will start with the artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time that I can show you what they are doing, my colleagues, but later on, I will show you again the first slide where is my emails that you can contact me and I connect you with the right people in the team, either in Hamad Medical Corporation or in our network in the universities that we are collaborating with. So they are developing system for real-time image segmentation using artificial intelligence for liver, for the aneurysm in the brain. For example, for the aneurysm means like there will be a blood vessel that will be dilated, and sometime this dilation will result in a decrease of blood flow, or if it is not treated on time, it can explode and then it will be ischemia and the patient will be lost. Here, if you place, like for example, for a mark for a biopsy, there is like there is a mark in the patient, but unfortunately, what happened when the patient is breathing or moving, there will be discrepancy between the superficial tagging and the real organ that you're going to take it. So here it is development of tools that will smartly find the way and minimize the risk that the biopsy will be taken exactly from the right place that was decided by the physician. Also for the permeability and artificial intelligence, and here it is also another nice venue for research because it doesn't cost a lot, just a server, plenty of free softwares. The libraries are open sources, and with the COVID-19, now we are talking, because this is quite interesting. For drug discovery, if you start drug from the beginning till the end, it's gonna take a huge amount of time. But there is something quite interesting, it is drug repurposing. If there is a drug that it is already commercialized in the market, what I do is I will take it again and I will simulate with different receptor, and I might find some possibility that the same entity or the same active ingredient was designed in the beginning for disease X, it can fit for disease Y. And this, for many companies, they catch this opportunity, like the development of Viagra. It was developed in the beginning for pulmonary disease, but they found that the side effects for the male patients, they were with erection, and then it became kind of aphrodisiac support for male fertility. So the same thing can be done for the drug repurposing. And when we are talking about permeability, there are different layers of permeability. So for cosmetics, we are talking of skin permeability. For oral ingested drugs, it is intestinal barrier. But two other interesting permeability assays is, one is the blood-brain barrier, and the other one is the placenta fetus. That means the communication between mother and the fetus. So here, there are a lot of virtual platforms to make models of toxins, foods, exchange between the mother and the fetus, and this is also a nice venue for research and development. I will go fast because all this maybe later on. So this is another project that was like, let's say, semi-mature. There were like, as Dr. Adel said before, there were a disruption in supply chain due to either geopolitical or war or whatever. So the idea was to reuse the N95 masks. So this platform was built to sanitize the used one, to reuse them effectively, and they were like somehow 99% safe to be reused by surgeon whenever there will be disruption of supply of N95 masks, which are really needed mainly for surgeon and frontline physician and healthcare providers. So I will now move to the team that I'm leading, which is really relatively small, but we are growing bit by bit, and mainly we are collaborating with Hamad bin Khalifa University, with different departments, Qatar University, other international entity in Singapore, Japan recently, and I hope that we can start something with Tunisia, and I'm really very open to help, to support, and also it will be a great opportunity that we can exchange ideas together, we can foster our collaboration. We will will start with something really small and we will grow it, and this is like the best proof of concept that we can build. And I hope that we can submit for some venue for grant possibility, either through Qatar National Research Fund or internal grants that we can get through our corporates or whatever. So system medicine, if we talking about system, it's quite complicated when we are talking about human. It is a very interdisciplinary field of study, looking at the system of the human body as part of integrated whole, incorporating biochemical, physiological, and environment interaction. So in the middle, you can see there is a patient or a human. We can catch his clinical feature, medical imaging, his medication, medical record, and also his interaction population, his genome, and so also the metagenome, the pathology profile, blood profile. Imagine all this data connected all together. So physicians, they are seeing just a pixel from this picture. They never see it in whole. And it is beyond the human capacity. We have one project with Hamad bin Khalifa University just on blood count. The possibility just to see the combination in a very simple blood count, not including biochemistry. There is like something more than 26,000 iteration just to understand a simple blood count, which is beyond the human capacity. So we are 3D thinking XYZ. That means we can think only about 3 scenarios in the same time. We cannot think more. So these possibilities require new tools, and you guys, it's really your field, and this is also another venue for research and development, and FDA is putting a lot of encouragement toward the integration of new technology to foster healthcare. So, if we see the hierarchy of a human being, so now I will take you to a trip to the human body, because you guys, mainly you are familiar with electronic circuits, with diodes, with condensers, IoTs, right? So, but now see yourself. So, as a human being, the smallest entity, it can be an atom, and then atom can build molecules. Molecules together, they're gonna build macromolecules. All is orchestrated by an information stored in our genes, right? So genes, when they are from DNA, they're gonna be transformed to RNA, and here we are talking about what we call the central dogma in biology. There is the molecular network, the second layer. The third layer, these molecular networks are drivers of different pathways among what we call the cell network. So if I take it from diagnostic and diagnosis way, genes, here how we can target them either through PCR or next generation sequencing. For the molecular, it is again either biochemistry, either complete blood count, or whatever. But when we come to the cells, here it will become the pathology lab. I know that in each table here, there is at least one of you who, one relative who passed away because of cancer, right? So usually there is a delay, because when we take a biopsy to look at the phenotype of the cell in a specific organ, and then if the reading is like, in some cases, over 30% or 50% or whatever, then we can tell that this cancer is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and so on. And the cells, if 2 cells from different types, they're gonna build a tissue, 2 tissue, at least they're gonna build organ. And when we are talking organ, here we are talking about medical imaging, right? Ultrasound. So organ, they are connected to build our system, and we have our skeleton, our nerve system, our gastric system, respiratory system. Unfortunately, there is no physician in the world who can see these layers of a patient. He's gonna see just in one thing at the time, right? It's impossible. But the story doesn't end at this point, at this different layer. We have our diet, we have our lifestyle, the environment effect, right? And here we are talking about the epigenomics. Again, We have also our social network, and here there are two networks. The physical one, our aunties, fathers, mothers, sisters, and the virtual one in Facebook, in Twitter, in WhatsApp. And sometimes we have like very emotional relation with people they are virtual. They can bully us, they can love us, they can empower us, and sometimes, in some cases, and it's happening a lot, people, they can commit suicide because of events happening in social media, and it's affecting their mental health. That's why it should be considered now as a part of evaluating our health. And there is another hidden organ in our body which weighing exactly or little bit more than our brain is what we call the microbiome. That means the bacteria, not only the bacteria, all microorganisms in our body, in our gut, in our skin, like they are colonizing almost every organ and every entity in our body. This is what we call a microbiome, the whole microbiome in our body. Some of them, they are like good, other they are pathogenic, other they are like saprophyte. That means they are waiting the opportunity when our immune system is declining, and then they're gonna attack us. And the other component is what? Is our mental health, right? So does the picture stop at this level? Can I ask this question? Who can answer? Yes or no? No. Because there is another dimension. It is gender and the component time. Because we are carrying all these things since we are in the womb of our mothers until we are aging and we die. So this in a DT, that means the component time. So it is really very complex. Later on, you're going to see in another slide only what is happening in terms of DNA, in terms of molecules. What we know is below 1.5% of something big and huge. So the classic techniques in terms of lab, in terms of diagnostics, it was like fishing with the rod, like canne à pêche. But the new technology is like more efficient. We are like net fishing. We can fish a lot of information from either blood or urine or organ or whatever. And these technology, they require what we call omics techniques. They require supercomputing, they require softwares, they require pipelines, they require a lot of platforms related to technology. So basically, from a patient, from the diagnostic perspective, either I'm going to take swab. Swab means a coton-tige, et je vais l'injecter soit dans le nez ou ailleurs, ou an échantillon d'urine, urine sample, or blood sample, or solid tumor, that means tissue sample. Then these tissue, they're going to be sent to the lab. Classically, we're going to fish something that it is known. But the current technology, it will allow us to see the known and the unknown. The first layer is called genomics, that means focusing on DNA. The second layer is epigenomics, that means the DNA methylation, that means the effect of the environment on our DNA. Like two brothers, twins, but one is living in Tunis, the other one is living in Gabes. With time, they're going to be different because of the environment effect of their DNA methylation. The third will be the transcriptome. Here, like this is like the real information that it can be later on translated to proteins, RNA, then proteomics, then metabolomics. This is a very simplistic approach, but the omics, if you're gonna Google it, it is something really huge. The conventional molecular biology was looking at a target in this different layer. Then the single omics, just the target in a horizontal layer. Now we are in the era of what we call transomics. That means how a target, a variable X, how it is interacting within the same layer of information, the layer before, and so on and so on. So if I take this small picture of my patient with all these new omics approaches, what I can collect, what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what we call biomarkers. And biomarkers, everyone is running behind biomarkers because there you can patent. When you patent, you can make a new drug, you can make a new diagnostic, you can make a new sensor, and you can gain a lot of money. So these biomarkers, they need to be specific, they need to be sensitive, they need to be accurate. There are a lot of parameters to governing what we call a biomarker. But not only a biomarker, I can work on what we call interactome. Interactome means how I can integrate all this information together in a whole map. And now we are talking about the interaction and overlapping between different diseases. For example, we're gonna find some genes that they are regulating the same time schizophrenia, and for the same time is for obesity and diabetes and for cancer. They are not specific. And majority of the disease, unfortunately, they are governed by the same genes, and it is a kind of tuning effect. Just you change the frequency for the gene, and then it's gonna give you another disease. Or it can make you happy, it can make you healthy, or whatever. So, what we can, at technology level, what we can gain, and at care level, what we can gain from this picture. Personalized diagnostics, personalized treatment, and pharmacogenomics. Here we are going to the future of medicine. We are going to personalized medicine. And for the sensors, the easiest one that I encourage our youth to work on, the paper fluidics. Lateral flow, the one like that was used for COVID-19 for the antigen test, this is the easiest one. And it can be little bit complicated. Then we are talking about biomems, and then smart biosensors, and then now we are moving to what we call an organ or body or lab on chip. So the ultimate goal is if I can get different biopsy from my patient, and I can build a copy of him in terms of microorgan, and then I can test the different drugs, different toxins, different scenario, and I can customize for him a pathway of care. For the omics revolution, it is giving a lot of opportunities for research, for technology, for development, and I think Tunisia, because we are in terms of IT or information technology, we are equivalent to India, and sometimes we are better. But unfortunately, our engineers, they are lacking the bioinformatics components and the health information system components. Here, Sirida, I really invite you to, I don't know how the program they can be updated in terms of university. If our engineer, they get access to these new fields, they integrate them, they're gonna be kind of highly required everywhere by private companies, by agency, by government, by research center, everywhere. They will be really very welcome. So the same picture at organization level. If we see a healthcare system in a country, in the bottom, it will be the patient network, then the healthcare provider network, and on the top of it, it is the admin network, and on the top, it is different hospitals or different clinics, and then come Ministry of Public Health and the WHO, World Health Organization. So a health information system has different components like the hospital management system, the clinic management system, laboratory information system, asset management system. Unfortunately, these health information systems, they are not talking the same language. You can find good products for each, but there is no holistic platform bringing a whole health information system that talking the same language. So that's why at the interface of these different disciplines, there are a lot of opportunities for research, for jobs of the future, and for our youth in our countries and elsewhere. We have another arm of research, which is surgery operation management, that mainly we are collaborating with Hamad bin Khalifa. We are tackling it for coordination and organization of various activities, effective management to ensure smooth functioning of our department, improve patient outcomes, optimize the use of resources because they are really very expensive. For example, the operating room in Qatar cost 1 hour is 25,000 riyal, roughly it is 20,000 dinars. And one bed night is 6,000 riyals, which is roughly 4,000 dinars, which is really huge. So, for example, these are kind of example of trauma center simulation. We can see how the patient are moving, how they are coming, and so on. I will go quickly, the emergency department, how to minimize the patient harm due to mistakes related to communication. When we prescribe medication, and then you know that physicians, they have very bad writing, right? So when they go to the pharmacy, there is like high chance that there will be mistake. Even in electronic healthcare system, it's the same about doses, it's the same about the active ingredients, it's the same for so this is another modeling of the epidemic dynamics in a clinic like the COVID one. So now I move to the second part. It is the importance of health informatics in the era of big data in healthcare. So here, like as a picture, you can see on your left hand the great wave of the coast of Kanagawa. It is a very nice representation of the big data in healthcare. You can see, based on your mood, in the plan at the end, you can see the Fuji-san. And if you are happy, you're gonna see that the waves, they are laughing. If you are sad, you're gonna see them that they have shark teeth and as if they're gonna smash the mountains. Also, I don't know, based on your visual acuity, how many boats are there, are they sinking, and so on. So roughly this picture, if I will take it to the wave of the big data in medicine, and this is the credit from the healthcare industry in Germany, there are different drivers, but before going to definition and so on, there is something quite interesting in any development. It is the social engineering part. And I really call our engineer to move sometime toward human science, toward philosophy. You will gain a lot. And in engineering, there is something quite interesting, is the reductionism model, the holism, and then how it moves toward the system thinking and the integrative approaches. With René Descartes in the 17th, the mechanical duck, le canard mécanique, which is a kind of reductionist model of a living organism, right? Then there is another school that was developed with Hippocrates during Greek time. It is called holism. It's the idea that various systems should be viewed as whole, not merely as a collection of parts. And another school of thinking, what we call the emergent property of a system, is, and that is not the property of any component of that system. For example, ruh, the soul, is belonging to the body, but it cannot belong to one organ of my body, right? So here I cannot define the soul of the human if I don't have like good background in what we call the emergent theory. Then the system thinking, and it ordered a lot for the engineering, and then from the engineering it moved to the healthcare, and then the integrative medicine approach. Since there is only 5 minutes left, I will move fast, and I'm gonna show things that they are more interesting. So here maybe you can find this information about big data, their definition. This is quite interesting for the data. In the bottom of the pyramid, there is measurement. Then the measurement with reading, they're gonna become data. Data, when it is converted, it's gonna become information. Information, when it is analyzed, it's gonna become experience. And then knowledge with the experience to become wisdom. Wisdom and judgment it will come to translation. This is the pyramid of knowledge of the data that we are collecting from any system. It doesn't mean that those who are in the bottom of the pyramid, they are stupid, and those on the top, they are intelligent. It's not. It is only value thinkings and benefit thinking. What we can do with the data, there is like the complexity of the data and the value of the data. So epidemiologic data, usually they are in the slot of what we call descriptive analytics, to say what happened only. But why did it happen? Then I'm talking about diagnostic analytics. What will happen? Then I'm talking about predictive. What should we do? Then I'm talking about prescriptive. And what more can we do to avoid or to support? Then we are on preemptive. That means استباقية, استراتيجية استباقية. Sorry for this. So we are moving from hindsights to insights to foresights, and from the information to optimization. For any the data should be like data storage collectible, preservable, accessible, discoverable, citable, comprehensible, reviewable, reproducible, and reusable, that we can get a tag for this data. It is called data trust. And in turn, there is like what we call the 5V of the data: the volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and the value. Why in healthcare we need to bring the right information to the right people in the right format through the right channel in the right time. Why for the 4 are like the right patient, the right product, and the right place and the right process. Again, the key components of health management information system for the decision, visualization, the data source, the operability, data management, and so on. So imagine now a scenario where we are collecting the demographics, lifestyle, environment, diet, mental health, medication, clinical, lab tests, imaging, genomics, omics, all together. They will be integrated somehow through fusion algorithms. Then what we're going to do with this? It's a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that can be done at this level. Simply, and we are lacking this in Tunisia because we don't have a consolidated a health information system in our hospital. Data collected, then it will be coded, then it will be tracked, then data mining, then data verified and validated, finally data governance and data security. And at that time, we are talking about outcomes and value. And you have like UK Biobank, they are selling the data of the patient, and it's making a lot of income for their healthcare system. Qatar also, with Qatar Biobank, we are doing the same. So see how we can make value out of the data. It's not something difficult, but it's not also easy. I will move fast again. So this is same thing. So this is like I told you about the DNA. For the DNA, it was a funny project that we have done when I was student back to 2007, 2008, to estimate if I will put a person, a human, in a juicer, in a mixer, virtually. I will not do it. So, and then I will extract the whole DNA from this person, and then I will uncoil this DNA, and I will ligate it all together. How long it's gonna be? So roughly, there are 2 estimates. Our estimate is making 44 atomic unit, and another estimate, which was recently published in 2019, 41. We are on the same scale, which means the DNA we have in our body, it is 220 times round trip Earth to the sun. Can you imagine this? The DNA that you have in your body is 22 round trips Earth to the sun. It's something huge. But what we know about only 1.5% of the information in the DNA, we know what is coding for what. And 88.5%, we don't know anything of it. So we see now at woman and man level, women, they have more storage of information than us because they have XX chromosomes and we have XY. So in terms of weight, a woman has 6.51 picograms, and a man, we have less information, 6.41 picograms. Why I'm emphasizing on this, why I'm talking about length and weight and so on, because there is a very nice opportunity and venue for research, and this is one. DNA Digital Data Storage, what we call DDDS. Now there is a project led by Oxford University is to create the next generation for data storage. Instead of using bytes like 1, 0, thinking it will be, I have opportunity to store at ATCG. So one bacteria, how it can store the whole data in our planet, it can be stored in just a shoebox. DNA storage data. Only one storage. And there is no need for ventilation, heat, energy. Plus, DNA is something that it will not decay. It's very stable for thousands of years. For thousands of years. So here, your engineer in SIPCOM, they need to dive a little bit toward biology, else they're gonna miss this opportunity again. The other opportunity it is, you are talking about Internet of Things, we are talking about DNA of things. For example, you send me a product, and you need to send me the blueprint of the product, the information, right? That I can either reproduce it or I can print it. But what if you can embed the information together with the product? This paper was published in like what we call the Stanford Rabbit. DNA, that was what we call the DNA fountain. We have all the schemes of the product encapsulated in beads that will be injected in filaments, and then it will be printed. Just what you do, if you receive the product, you're gonna, as you are we doing with a human, you're gonna scratch it, run a PCR, and you will get your file for the STL file for 3D printing. So both information and physical products, they are combined. This is again another revolution in terms of how the things are becoming very narrow in terms of research. The other, for romantic ones, I think all the men here, they are romantic. So you can, like, gift your wife a symphony based on your DNA, or based on her DNA. And this is something quite interesting, because we were dealing with information only with 10, 10, 10, 10. But what if I will transform the information to sounds? And then if someone has a good ear, he can immediately find the mutation if the symphony is not in the right time or in the right place or in the right scale. So this is again what we call information to music, or DNA to music. It started with a funny product, but now, for example, understanding cancer. COVID, you can find in YouTube how the sound of cancer looks like, how the sound of COVID-19 look like. Some of them, they are really scary. Some of them, they are funny. So these are some papers for those who are interested. Number one, which is really very interesting, that it costs nothing. It is what we call phenotype to genotype. If I take a picture of you, how many diseases I can find just from your face? How many diseases? So see, just with only one picture, I can associate it with 4,526 disease and around 2,142 genes. Something amazing. This cannot be done by a human. It can be done through what? Through image processing. The other one is electronic health record to genetic diagnostic. In China, they already can process 500,000 electronic health record with 99% accurate decision in 30 minutes. That means all the children in Tunisia, they can be run just in 30 minutes. It's something amazing. So that's why the venue of data, SEPCOM, can be a hub or can initiate a new way of doing things in healthcare. Genetics to non-genetic data integration, and here maybe mainly for breast cancer. You know that one lady in 8, if we diagnose her early, we can save her family, we can save her, we can save her life. I will talk a little bit about money. One company that maybe you know it is called 23andMe. They recently licensed their database for GSK for $300 million. So see this company, how much money they are doing, like nanopores, Eurofins, Medisapiens, and so on. Oracle. Now Oracle, they became since 2022 the biggest holder of healthcare records in the world. They purchased Cerner Millennium, which is like running 60% of healthcare system in the world, for $28 billion. And when we talk Oracle, so I will, give me just 1 minute. 2 minutes? Okay, you're generous, you said 2, okay. So, Healthcare 4.0, unfortunately, we don't have enough time to talk about, but it is very easy. We were talking about, this is the journey. So digitalization and connectivity, data analytics, remote monitoring, healthcare ecosystem integration, patient-centered care and empowerment, cybersecurity and data privacy. But unfortunately, we are moving toward a system that has no emotion. But the patient needs emotion. That's why we are talking about this picture that appeared in 2018 in the Annals of Medicine. The healthcare system with this modality of data is putting a lot of screens, a lot of barrier between the physician and the patient. So that's why we need to reduce the gap. And now I invite you all to work on artificial intelligence and empathy. How empathy. The decision, for example, imagine someone that load his blood count in a platform and then it come out you have cancer. He may die, right? Just because of the surprise. So we need to work not on decision as engineer, we need to work on more empathic, that means more emotional, more centered care toward the patient. If I ask you a question, how many diseases are there? Did you think about this question, Evan? How many diseases are there? So, good answer. So, first, if we see the WHO ICD-10 database, there is roughly 10 power 4, that means 12,000 diseases. But estimated number is around 10 power 34 possible disease. Which means what we know exactly is the size of an electron in the solar system. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا ذَرَّةً أَوْ قَلِيلًا. So, the journey for healthcare is really very complex because starting there is the chemical complexity, there is the biological complexity, and so on, and also the regulation complexity. And here is like the pathway for drug discovery, starting from 10,000 leads, you have only one, you spend $20 billion, and at the end it may fail. So we need, again, now we are discussing at high level. If I ask you, what does mean healthy person and what does mean sick person? Who can answer? If you say that I'm sick, are you sick? No. No. Sick and healthy is reported in numbers. So means there is someone who is liable who need to report. That means there is a physician who will tell that you are sick or not. If he will not tell, that means if you are sick and you stay home, in statistics, you are blind to the system. We don't consider you as sick. But if you went to a doctor and then the doctor tells that you are sick, at that time, you are sick. So the second, healthy, there is nobody is healthy. So this area between healthy and sick, which is covering 80% of the whole population, is not seen by any healthcare system in the world. That's why we need this smart technology to work on it as population. The last few things we need to learn from our ethnography, and this is like a picture on, if you see in that, it's me. In 2008, in Japanese project, we are prospecting the material in North Africa from Mauritania to Tunisia. And allow me, Si Muhammad, here, very interesting story. This guy called Al-Hiwiwi in the south, in Tozur, is a very famous guy as a healer, local healer. Swedish, they came and they said that he is kind of liar and so on. They brought 20 students, and then they asked them to collect randomly plants from the area, and they asked him to give 5 plants, and then for cancer. All the 5 plants he gave, they were really effective, and the one they were collected randomly by the 25 students, none of them they gave results. Means these people, they have knowledge. And this knowledge is in our heritage in Ibn al-Bitar, in Ibn al-Jazzar, and there are a lot of patents. This is not the time, we can discuss it another time. The other one is we need to learn from animals. For example, the formic acid discovery was an observation of an ethnobotanist in the 16s. It is a phenomenon that is famous among birds. It's called anting. Sometime when you see the birds opening their wings in the grass, what they are taking the ants and they put them on their feather. The ants, they get stressed, they release formic acid. It's kind of a free antiseptic bath for them. Smecta, that everyone almost used for diarrhea. The first observation, it was a monkey that when they have diarrhea episodes, they were eating clay. So that's why we learn from animal, we learn from our ancestor, we learn from our history, we learn from anything around us. So I move because there is no time. The last slide, and I finish by it. Now I screen different healthcare system, and one of the best is the Chinese one. It is called the 4P plus system. What does mean 4P plus? It is personalized, predictive, preventive, and participatory. The plus is, that means it is population. This is, if you understand well, and if it is implemented, this will be one of the best healthcare system among the one running now in the world. So I finish because I think the time is over, right? Thank you very much.
Yeah.